Hi, everybody, and
Hi.
welcome to Hoosier Sophisticate. We have Hiedi Handford, the Terpene Healer.
Terpene Healer.
That is, yeah.
Love it.
Joining us at the Missouri Medical Cannabis Conference. This has now been like the maybe fifth or sixth interview you guys maybe have been tuning in for. We're giving it's been a nice little
Say the
mix.
fifth or sixth.
Yeah, it's been
for
great.
Best.
Yeah, that's
what they
right.
say.
Say what again?
Save the
Save
fifth
the
or sixth for best.
Yeah, exactly.
I had so much fun with you last night at the mixer. We
So
had some
awesome.
great conversation. And you blew my mind with the breathing. My gal wouldn't mind. She suffered with asthma that doctors aren't even sure what it is. They've treated it with everything. She's taken copious amounts of steroids. We've gone to the ER several times. Inhalers don't get it sometimes. And you used that little breathe oil on my palm last night.
That
and
was
get a little
wild.
homemade inhaler.
Yeah,
And
right
that
here in your
was a
hand. Everybody's got
game
one right
changer.
That
You
was
have
wild.
an inhaler right here. She
Don't
showed me last night.
Vape essential oils. Don't buy a pen. Your inhaler's right here.
Look at that.
That's
It was
wild.
amazing last
Craig
night.
came over to me and he's like, "Here, smell this." And he's like, "I'm like, why am I breathing in your hands? What are you making? What is this witchcraft?" And I'll be darned if I didn't take a breath in. I was like, "Why did that? What kind of placebo
I'm all
effect are you
clear.
working on me right now?" Because I did feel clear after it. What was that?
It's a proprietary blend by doTERRA called Breathe.
That makes
But
sense.
essential oils are terpenes. So
Tell us
you
about
actually
that.
just healed yourself with terpenes.
What is a terpene?
Terpenes are the chemical component of the plant that creates an aromatic scent. So a lot of people have always called essential oils aromatherapy, which is one good thing to call it, but there's so much more than that. We're not going in just through the nose. We're also going in topically through the skin and also for oral consumption and sublingual consumption. And so I make CBD formulations that I enhance with terpenes and with my essential oils. I have terpenes that I've sourced directly from Denver, and they are sourced directly from the cannabis plant. And I have 6 of the main ones: apenine, bupenine, myrcene, beta-caryophyllene, limonene, and linalool. And I do use those in my formulations as well. But a lot of my work is done working with plant medicine and formulating those plants and dialing in for a person's condition.
Cool. How do you do it? Like how do you extract terpenes? How do you utilize them? And how are you figuring out what ways they help in certain aspects of certain ailments?
Well, that's where I have some great cross-reference materials. And one thing a lot of people don't realize is that terpenes are everywhere in our lives. They're everywhere in everything that has a scent. So like when you're walking in the pine forest and you smell that pine tree, that really piney tree scent is apenine.
Oh, there's the man that made this whole thing happen.
This is sexy. I like this.
We're just talking terpenes.
Blake's here, everybody.
Terps.
You're in the mini terp jungle right now. We
Yeah.
call it.
I'm in the jungle. Welcome.
But what you find is that the cannabis plant actually, when you determine what the strain of a cannabis plant is, it's based upon a terpene profile. And every plant has a terpene profile. Cannabis just happens to have a lot more terpenes than a majority of your regular garden variety. So like when you look at lavender consists of 3 of the main terpenes that they have. I'd have to go look it up to give you the exact names because there's so many. I don't have them all memorized, but I do have great reference materials where I can actually look at what terpene works the best for what condition and what oil it's in so that I can dial that in. And then also it's very important to understand the types of terpenes you're working with. A monoterpene versus a sesquiterpene. Monoterpenes are not cell wall permeable, whereas sesquiterpenes are. And that's a huge thing that we need to get through in the medical industry. Big Pharma and their medications have huge problems crossing the blood-brain barrier. When we utilize sesquiterpenes in our health and wellness, we can get across that blood-brain barrier. And that's really how we can really effectively beat brain tumors and those type of issues as well.
Let me ask you a question,
So,
lady.
mhm.
I was told, and tell me if I'm right, if this was right or wrong, but that terpenes are like the catalyst of the entourage. It really pushed things
Yes.
over the edge. They
I
are the
consider
key
them
that
to be the
unlocks the
signalers.
potential.
Yes.
Would you say that's right? That they unlock the potential of the rest of the cannabinoids to do what they do to the best of their ability? Would
I
you
think
say
it's a
that's
great
right,
way
or-
to put it, but to expand upon that,
Please.
I would call them the signalers. And they tell those cannabinoids where we want them to go. So a lot of people in the cannabis industry, they talk about what strain for your pain. Well, that's Cannabis 101. When we're talking terpenes, we're talking about what terpene for your condition. That's Cannabis 400 to 600 level. And so when we get into the terpenes, and when you really look at the cross-reference materials that I have and how you can get in and find out, like, cardamom is so good for your belly. Well, what terpene is in there that does that? And go find other terpenes and get even more of that to do more good things for bellies.
Oh,
And so you can
gotcha.
cross-reference. Then if you don't get a
I
good
love it.
mix
I'm gonna
with
go
one,
to next stop.
you
Hey,
can-
next
I love
time-
this conversation.
next
I can't
time-
wait for you. She's coming up, so be ready for her.
Hey, next time you have a good question, you write that down and give it to me so
Put it
I
in
can
the
ask it next
question
time. I'll be
box.
coming here and asking your own great questions. Get out of here. You got a conference to run. Sorry, I apologize for that.
he's doing a good job running this
Oh,
conference.
he's an amazing human.
Can you give us a little
Yes.
perspective on that? We've got you guys come from Florida at this point. I know you're from Montana originally.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about that, but you've probably been to your fair share of cannabis.
We have been to
gatherings.
many conferences and
for
gatherings
this one being
everywhere.
the first one, patient first here in St. Charles, how's it measure up? Are we doing okay?
I think you guys have done a fantastic job, actually.
All right. That feels
It's
good.
been very good. I really don't see any big major changes, but maybe, next year break out your speakers into the rooms where the vendors were supposed to be and throw all the vendors out in the middle.
Oh,
And
that's a brilliant
that
idea.
way you can have more speakers with a little more focused.
Mhm.
That's the only thing I see that happens differently at other ones.
Hmm.
But hey, it's your first one. It's great. What's
That-
going on?
And we've
You
had a
got
few
your
people.
Canna family in
Thanks
the main
for the
room all
constructive
together.
criticism, Heidi.
You asked.
Appreciate it. Jeez.
Well,
Louise.
we
No,
have it on
that's
good
good.
authority that a lot of people said we like it. There's only one speaker at a time. We don't have to choose between speakers.
Well, and
Yeah,
you guys,
we've
it's
thought about
brand new for you.
That
Sure.
is totally.
In 2 years
It's been
from
wild.
now, yeah, I mean, 1 year or 2 years from now,
Yeah.
you may have more of a need. You may have more people
Sure.
Absolutely.
you may have just like one room
You'll need
dedicated
the
to
overflow.
cooking
Yes.
and food and edibles, and another room dedicated to just
Sure.
doctors.
That's the
and
idea.
then people will have to pick and choose what they want.
That's the idea.
And then you go and videotape everything and offer them that later for a decreased rate for attending the conference so that they can see what they missed.
See,
Looks
there
like
you
we got
go.
a new
It's
board
all
member.
marketing.
We got a new board member. I love this. Oh man, yeah, no, it's been a good time. The like we've been saying it all week. The learning from everybody has been
Mhm.
just phenomenal. Like you had a whole table of people last night, just like
Yeah, just eating out of the palm of her hand.
we all know Jen Coors. She helped us with a lot. She's a part of the Facebook page and all that. And she was just mesmerized. Like she has been
She was.
soaking this up
Oh,
because
she's a hoot.
she's kind of a new advocate. Like I've seen her growth from the beginning,
Yeah.
and it's fun to see all these people kind of metamorphosize and come out of their shell, and it's awesome. It's really cool to see.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to
And
people
then-
like you.
Once you flip the light switch of knowledge on,
Yeah,
there's no turning it off.
That's
That
right.
light is not
it just
dimming.
burns.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
so
phenomenal.
funny with this conference too, because in high school, the stoner kid is in the back like, I'm gonna hit baddies in my jacket. Well, and here it's like the stoner kid is like, oh, I'm gonna take notes on this right here. Like there's so many agendas
The
and notes.
stoner kid's a straight A honor student. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll flip the script on that one.
They're the honor students now.
So yeah, exactly. So you obviously you believe in the healing power of terpenes. How do you consume terpenes? How do you use terpenes? Do you use them in all different facets?
Oh, every
mean-
day, every way.
Topically,
Inhalation, topical, sublingual.
Yeah.
Mhm. There's even some people we
What's your
poke them up
favorite?
their butts.
What's your favorite?
It just
Hey,
depends on what
That's
we're
all
gonna
right.
do.
Actually,
I don't have any gloves or.
I like
suppositories,
trip-
no, I'm going
so-
in. I'm going in knuckles deep. Here we
How
go.
about-
What do we got here?
How about I just heard about triterpene. Triterpene, is that a terpene? It's from the roots of the cannabis plant. Are you familiar with that?
Right? I know there's diterpenes, sesquiterpenes, monoterpenes. I haven't heard about triterpene.
Well, I don't know.
yet.
I'm probably way off here, but they were talking about the efficacy of the medicine of the roots.
I
of
have
cannabis.
always preached that for years. If you go and you look at the herbal world, one herb, for instance, is St. John's wort.
Yeah.
They use nothing but the root of that plant to treat depression.
Yeah.
And then they throw away the top.
What's in
Well, we have the perfect plant. Why would we throw away any part of it whatsoever?
I'm looking
Oh,
this
there we
up
go.
online right now, and I'm showing some of the speakers a thing
He
or
found
two about what I know.
triterpenes. It's 6 isoprene units.
What is it? I don't know what the rest of those words mean. I just heard that one.
Oh, okay. It's a precursor to steroids.
Oh, sweet. All right. Sweet.
So it'll have some steroidal action.
do many terpenes. Is that a terpene? What we just
Well,
saw? Or
there's
is
different types of terpenes. Like I was talking about the monoterpene and the sesquiterpene.
He's
That's a
laughing 'cause you're
lot of the
talking
stuff that I'm
idiot.
working in there. And so triterpenes are probably along the same lines as the diterpene, monoterpene, sesquiterpene.
One's 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Like,
And then you
I
got the
know Latin.
alkenes and the ketones and the keloids. And
Yeah, the ketones are great. I love it. What's your favorite essential oil? What's your favorite
Ooh.
terpene? You got one?
Oh, I
How about
love
your favorite smell?
frankincense.
That's one of our hot seat
Yeah.
questions.
My favorite smell is cannabis. Period.
Are you a piney gal or a fruity gal or like what do you like?
Tangy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Tangy years ago in Arizona. We're at the Patients Out of Time conference, and we were at Tumbleweeds Health Center in Phoenix.
Sure.
And there was an old farmer who come in. I don't know where he come from, but he had been farming pecans back off in somewhere. And a rough old guy. I mean, it had to be in late 70s.
Yeah.
He come rolling into their tumbleweeds, and he had maybe a quarter ounce of that Tangy, and I'd have followed that man to the moon and back. Oh my Lord, that's the first time I'm drooling right now thinking about it.
That's awesome. Settle down, Heidi.
And
We
I
got a
think
show to
back,
do here.
it's really the first time where I really went, wow, and I really enjoyed a terpene profile because I could
Sure.
taste it in my sinuses.
Sure.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And all you wanted to do is hold that smoke and blow it out through your nose.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
I love that.
I'll
Yeah.
never forget that experience. I've loved Tangy to this day.
That's so great.
So-
Because that's the point where we're trying to get in Missouri. Because that's John Hunt was talking about bag appeal. Everybody in Missouri has to go if they're going to obtain some stuff, and then you smell and you look at it and you're like, okay, and you're getting some of the terpenes out of it. But it'd be cool to get to the point where we're seeing a terpene profile. or
Yeah, well,
something in there.
until you truly have jars where you can go and sniff. This is how I wound up at Terpene Healer. Is over the years I've helped hundreds of patients pick their medications for the very first time. I've taken them into dispensaries and introduced them
that's
and
great.
watched them smell the jars and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing though, not one single one of those patients spent a dime on anything that was not appealing to their nose.
Makes perfect sense.
The nose knows, and it's truly the only way that your endocannabinoid system has to communicate with you. Hey, I like that
Wow.
drool. You want that now.
Yeah.
And that's also how food plays such a big part into things too. That's how our endocannabinoid and our neurological systems have to talk to us.
Yeah.
They can't just talk to you. They have to elicit something to get it from you.
Get a
Wow.
feeling
And
out
so
of
when
it.
you smell those jars and you drool, that's your med.
Wow, that's something because we want to educate people. Hopefully, after 2 passes, to where that's something I didn't hear when I was in Colorado. That they were like, "Hey, here's White Widow," or all
They
the
don't
different
think about
kinds.
it that way because
Almost a
trying to make the
blind
money.
smell test would
Right.
kind of almost be the best way to see what your body is telling you, what you possibly
Exactly.
Well, and your eyes play tricks on you too.
Oh, sure.
We've done the whole. We're here in St. Louis, obviously the home of Anheuser-Busch and everything, and so the number one beer that's drank anywhere really, but is Bud Light, right? And so
Right.
just everybody from St. Louis, they drink Bud Light. Well, I drink Natural Light, which is their cheaper beer, and I
Yeah.
think it's better tasting. And it's so funny because I go to these parties
Yeah.
and they'd be like, "You're drinking that swill," and I was like, "All right, here's a test. I'm gonna blindfold you. I'm gonna pour 3 different light beers. You're gonna tell me you think you know Bud Light so well. You're gonna tell me which one you think is Bud Light, and then you're gonna rank them or whatever." Every single time there were 16 people there, 14 people did it. Every single one of them guessed wrong on what they thought was Bud Light, and like 12 of them preferred Natural Light because they didn't see the can,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they were
that's
just
huge.
going straight off of taste, and that's
It's
the same
visual
idea.
training.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your eyes trick you.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
also
Now, when you take it
Flip
back
your
to the
senses.
senses, though, that are so basic, like taste and scent,
Yeah.
you can't trick that.
right.
You can try
Sure.
with synthetics,
Sure.
and people do try, but until you really poke your nose in jars and get to Frolic in Gardens and smell the plant and inhale the full terpene profile and just go, oh, that's mine. And
That's where I'm
where
living.
people get so passionate about this plant.
And
They
we could
fall
all
in
use a
love
little
with
bit
it.
more frolicking in our life.
Oh,
Frolic.
frolicking in
people. Go
gardens
frolic.
is
Go
my
forth
favorite.
and frolic.
Ah.
If that's
You go
one thing
find
you
me
get,
on Facebook. I have so many pictures of me like this in the big gardens. I love it.
I'm gonna write hashtag frolic.
Go forth and
Hashtag frolic
Frolic.
freely.
Where can we find you? Where can we get some of your information? You got
well,
you should
I'm-
write a book if you haven't done that already.
Yeah, I need to do that, but I got to finish the one out of Montana
That.
first.
There you go. You got to do that.
Title of that one's batshit crazy.
I'm in.
I'll bring
2011 session, we had 26 raids in 24 hours on March 14th of 2011. The raid started at 9 a.m. in the morning, just as our repeal bill was being presented to our Senate Judiciary hearing.
What?
And it passed all the way through our Senate and our House. And the governor vetoed it. It was a citizens initiative. They were trying to repeal our cannabis law. And so the raids were totally a political move. And Irvin and I are in Billings getting ready to be interviewed by the most prohibitive newspaper in the state as these raids are going off. I published a magazine at the time, and I'm down there, and my phone is exploding, and I'm looking at this going, Irv, 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 come here. There's raids going on, and Irv can't say a word. I can't answer any questions because I don't know.
That's
and
nuts.
so we get out of the newspaper, fly back up to Helena because that's where a majority of them were happening.
Yeah.
We were actually on site for a couple of them, watching the DEA pull all the crap out. And, that's
maddening.
I hope we don't ever see any of that in our new states when they come on. But one thing I will tell you, one thing I've done for years is when you see something happen in the newspaper, don't believe what you read. Run out there and support those people,
Heidi, I can't
especially
read.
if it's a weed crime.
Oh,
they make
yes,
us out and they
for sure.
victimize us or villainize us
Right.
and make us out to be horribly bad people.
That's right.
I sit through, I can't tell you how many court cases I go and I support that patient. I go and I sit through jury trials.
Oh, dude, that's
And
awesome.
they need that support. They need that
Yeah.
person sitting there. And when that jury has to sit there and look at their peers on the side of the
It makes
patient,
all the difference.
looking at them going,
What's wrong with you?
hey,
Yeah,
come on, are you
it's fucking
stupid?
Planned.
And then also it's educating those attorneys. I mean, in Florida right now, we have judges 2 years later who don't know we have a medical marijuana law.
It's insane.
So that's something that we talk about as every state comes on. Irvin had talked about it this very afternoon. When you guys pass your law on the 6th, you're at about the 40-yard line.
Right. We still got a long way to go.
You got a long ways to go.
Right.
And you got to run a hell of a defense, and you got to watch your people. And your county community has got to be tight. And the one thing you've got to realize is not everybody is going to agree on everything all the time, and that will create division. And what brings you back together is your passion and love for the plant.
Yep.
Because no matter what, we all love this plant, and we want it free.
Yep,
Absolutely.
we're going to shotgun formation. I'm putting
Mhm.
4 out wide.
Yep.
Prevent defense. I'm just going along with the football analogy. I
No,
really
that's
like
what
that.
you got to do, though.
I know. I
That's-
can't believe we're only at the 40-yard line, though.
I
I
know.
thought we were a little
Well,
further.
you got to pass it on the 6th. No, you
I
still
know.
got a big
I'm like,
fight.
I'm so far ahead. I'm like,
Legislators are going to
we
want to
did
get in
it.
there and put in their little poison pills and jack things up so that you don't have access. You've got to read language, understand, and or
because there's a lot that's vague actually in the writing as it is right now that I thought I was like, that's interesting that would be.
that's
as
because
vague
they
as it
don't
is.
want to spell it out because some things they just can't. And
yeah,
they don't
yeah,
know
and
how.
it's new. Yeah, and I think that what's crazy too, if you read the bill, the whole first 2 or 3 pages is just what the language means, like
Mhm.
what their definition of
What they're
each word-
changing.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is wild to me. I'm always like, oh God, hey
Oh,
guys,
try
there's
writing
cannabis
it
down the street.
sometime.
You've helped write that
I
stuff.
had to help write
Oh my
legislation.
God,
yeah.
you got to help us write the Psilocybin Legalization Act.
Oh
and
yeah, well, there's a lot of
Missouri.
people been working on that.
We
I'll tell you
got
what.
we have Denver for
Psilocybin.
psilocybin coming on the
Yeah,
show
we
again.
love
in a couple
them.
weeks. They came in 2 months ago probably to kind of let us know what their project was about. So it's very near and dear to my heart.
Mine
and,
too. They got to free that one too.
we
I'm
are
telling ya.
Yep.
we are.
There are
I
people
don't
I
think
know
anything will
of.
make as radical a change.
Oh.
And I think cannabis helps on a gradual basis, right? And with great success.
Mhm.
But as far as mentally, people suffering with depression and things like that, I'm not sure that there's anything out there that has the potential to rapidly change someone's outlook, perspective, overall general health in possibly as few as 1 doses. Like I think that, I mean, obviously, there's something to be said for revisiting
Well,
that
it's
place.
like we were discussing last night. It's a reset.
Yes, it is the reset button, and
Mhm.
it
reset that
highlights
being.
it highlights the interconnectedness of all things. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, I love
and
the brain scans they have of the entire brain being lit up and talking and being able to communicate
Yeah.
with other
parts
portions of the brain.
that it normally
They
doesn't
usually
communicate
never do.
with.
On that note, why are we so scared of opening up those portions of the brain?
Uh,
Why do we want to have it so closed? That's one
Right.
thing that concerns me when
There's-
we
it's
see our society
absolutely
today.
suppression tactic.
I
It's like we
know.
want to program everybody to go and do this and do what the doctor says and do
I
that.
know.
And no
We're
independent
very
thought.
programmed.
And we need our independent thought. We need our passion.
Damn
we
right
need
we
to follow
do.
our dreams.
Damn right we do.
Mhm.
God, you are the
Heidi,
best,
I know.
Heidi.
Let's do this all the
God,
time.
man.
Steve, you're fired. Steve's fired.
I'm out of here. It's Heidi and Craig's show from here on out. I would watch that show. I would watch that show.
I would watch that
much
show.
more than I would watch that. Heidi, can we? Do we get the information? You got the Terpene Healer on
Terpene
Facebook.
Healer is on Facebook. Irvin Mai's website is mymedicineconsulting.com. And then also, if you go to terpenehealer.com, that'll take you to mymedicine.com, My Medicine Consulting. But on terpenehealer.com, on that launch page, on my welcome page, there's a very interesting video there talking about apenine in the forest and how it's being studied in Colorado Springs, and how apenine, the terpene, could very well be responsible to aid in cloud seeding and rain and cloud formation.
Wow.
So go watch
What?
that and see how terpenes are so.
Let's do a watch party
that
tonight
just
on the
opens
grid.
Oh,
the
sure.
door to the magic of terpenes.
We're gonna invite you to our little fan page, but we'll do a watch party and we'll have all the people they can watch.
Well,
along
I'm
in
hoping
real
after
time.
all of this today, we're all going to go over to the Brazilian steakhouse. I've
I've heard
the strongmen have been raving about.
Really?
It.
I've heard,
Yes.
5 different places.
There's been
That's
beautiful,
awesome.
bumpy people everywhere
Oh, tell
here
me
all
about it,
weekend.
sister.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's been some.
And both genders, maybe
For
all
sure.
three.
Yeah, Heidi, I know. No doubt. No doubt.
Oh, shit. Heidi, thank you so much for joining
You're
us,
the
guys.
best.
We're gonna
You're
have a
so
few
much
more
fun.
She's about to
interviews
speak at
today.
the conference. It's not too late to get down here.
No, you can get
Yeah,
down here.
come on down.
Get down
Embassy
here real
Suites.
quick. Embassy Suites in St. Charles.
And
Had a good
don't be
time.
afraid to call me. I treat patients all across the nation.
Boom. Terpene
Boom.
Healer.
Mhm.
Guys, one love. We'll see you later.